Hello, this is Keith Lamont. I'm working on AI War 2. Trying something new here, just recording my programming work. I think that some of you will find this very interesting, and others will find it interesting because I'm nuts. But not that I program anyway. So I've actually made a number of these recordings trying to get this right, and something always winds up messing up the audio drag or something. So we'll see if this is the first one that it really works out on. We're going to start with a feature that I would like for my own testing, and I think will make the keyboard navigation more useful, which is just have 0 always just reset the menu back to the master menu, which is not the very bottom, but the one that you get basically for commands that don't have anything to do with a specific unit that you've got selected. It's like you've got the bottom bar, and when you select something, you get the command bar above that. If you don't have something selected, you don't get anything other than the bottom bar unless you press 0, which gives you the master menu. Which gives you access to things like saving and loading and changing the speed of the game and pausing and a lot of things. But I've found that it's difficult if I do something like 0711. Excuse me. If I do something like 0011, it selects all the military units, which I then have a selection, so I've got a command menu. If I then do 0, nothing happens. So if I try to do 0711 again, what happens is the 0 is ignored because there's nothing on the 0 button on the command menu right now. The 7 is also ignored because there's nothing at 7. And then it does 1, which means toggle free roaming defender. Now, if I press it twice, it should toggle it twice and thus have no net effect. But what I was finding is I was having a lot of units in free roaming defender when I didn't mean to. And just in general, I'd like for any key combo, any key sequence starting with 0 to have a consistent effect regardless of where you were in the menus. So, so what I want to do is go over here to the external code. This is the external code DLL, the code for it, and look at the master menu handler. And so here are the 10 actions that I've got defined. And those come from the XML, but the real logic of them is defined here. And it has it looks for the bottommost, it gets the bottommost menu and then kind of counts up from there. It keeps going up from there in this function here where it's getting the topmost open master menu window. Basically, and then it just goes through the list of buttons there and gets you the one corresponding to the number you pressed. Basically, I want it to just totally ignore that logic for this one. This means we won't be able to have 10 distinct functions for each level of menu. We'll only be able to have 9. But I think this is worth it because you can add lots and lots of submenus if you want, and adding the additional digit to some commands doesn't make them a whole lot harder to use. Maybe you'll disagree with me on that, but this can be changed. This is in the external code. So basically what I want that to do is do what backspace does a lot and then click so I wonder if it makes sense to just do this and literally do this a lot. This is going to be a hack if it works. Okay, it's not going to do that for me. I was trying to do extract method. It doesn't like doing that when there's a break. So, yeah, back up one step in master menu. So I want it to do this. I mean, you're not going to have more than 20 levels. Just like, you know, we would never need more than 64 kilobytes of RAM, right? I can make that more sophisticated if I need to in terms of detecting what's going on. So then what we want to do is the master menu. Actually, it's the bottom menu. Toggle master menu, instance, click. Theoretically, we're done. Excuse me, let me clear my throat. Excuse me. I don't expect this to work, but let's test it. Yeah, this was my previous recording. That didn't go so well because the audio from the game got onto the track even though it wasn't happening on the speakers. Yeah, it was great music. I love listening to that, but it totally overshadowed my voice, and I can't have that, right? No, basically it made the testing phases of the audio just unintelligible. So maybe we'll post that one as a blooper reel at some point. It won't be the only one, probably. So yeah, this is the test case I was using for the previous feature I implemented. Alright, so let's just see what happens when I click 0. Okay, it does toggle. It still opens master menu. What happens if I press 0 again? Okay, nothing changes. That's what I would expect. 7, 1, 1. Okay, now I've got a command menu because I've got a selection. 0. Kills everything, goes back to... Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's one level deep. What happens if I do 0, 7, 1? So I've got multiple levels here. Okay, yeah. Well, excellent. The last feature I did honestly wasn't a whole lot more complicated than that in terms of the number of things going on, and it still took me an hour. So this one did not take me an hour, thankfully. So now we'll go over here to commit the code. And I don't necessarily commit every time I make a change, but I like doing that. It kind of keeps the momentum going. So you can see, here's the diff. I'd like to check the diff. I caught a number of bugs in the last thing I did by doing this. Not so much bugs, just logical things I had forgotten to hook together. So they worked, but they didn't do everything I wanted them to do. So, yeah, this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and send it in. So, well, give it a description. So, 0 key, which normally opens master menu, commands not related to a selection, to your selection. When you have nothing, when you have no bottom menu open, will now always do that, no matter where you are in the bottom menu structure, allowing key sequences like 0, 7, 1, 1, select all mobile military on the planet, to have a consistent meaning or consistent behavior. Even if you currently have a selection or have a submenu open. Or menus. Alright. And there's a little email from Chris. Woof, bummer on the video. In the last one. I need to figure out a way to turn that little notification off. Alright, so now I'll come over here to complete the loop by editing our release notes. I just paste the same thing in from the SVN, honestly. And there you are. You won't actually see that change until we push this version. But there it is. Thanks for watching. I'll probably do more than one thing each video in the future, but I've got so many messed up videos at this point. I just want to make sure this one recorded right before I do more. Thanks for listening, and thank you very much for your support of this project.